Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine, Odesa. We continue discussing important topics. The second educational year is approaching its end, and now we are going to discuss the results of this educational year. Our guest is Oleksandr Lonchak, Director of the Department of Education and Science of Odesa Military State Administration. Mr. Lonchak, can you share more details about the school year? A good and peaceful day, dear residents of Odesa. And now one more unusual school year in the conditions of martial law is coming to an end. Of course, it is unusual. Of course, it is unique because that was the year with the air raid alerts, without power supply, internet. And I would like to thank the educators for the teamwork, united work, and prompt overcoming of all the challenges caused by Russian military aggression. And I'd like to say that before the start of the school year, we had to equip bomb shelters, and we didn't know how many funds was needed, how to do that. But as of the 1st September, out of 725 educational institutions, 331 started operating in different formats, online and offline. And of course, we wanted to cover as many students as possible with offline or mixed format. By the end of the school year, 557 institutions finalized the educational process in offline or a mixed format. There is a task from the 1st September of the next school year for all our pupils and students to learn offline. But of course, we will make a survey among parents. The situation with kindergartens has also improved. In April last year, all kindergartens were closed. Then gradually we opened them up. And now 239 kindergartens work offline and 239 in a mixed format. The situation with kindergartens is more difficult because they don't have basements, they don't have shelters. But of course, we are looking for a way out, like mobile bomb shelters, and the local government institutions are aware of the problem. That's why we do everything possible to increase the number of offline kindergartens. In parallel, we work with international organizations and donors to find the way out of the situation and to provide for bomb shelters in kindergartens. And today, the last school day, department recommended to finish the educational process for this year on the 26th of February. 431 institutions of general secondary education have the last education day today. 150 schools till the 31st of May, and all the rest until the 14th of June. We recommended to spend the day of the so-called last belt according to the requirements. I would like to know that until the 30th of June, schools will hold individual and group classes, consultations on all subjects using a flexible mode, taking into account an individual approach to each student. All students shall be tested and transferred to the next class. Special attention is paid to the children of IDPs. More than 6,500 children, internally displaced children, were enrolled in schools in Odesa. We also work with the children who are now abroad, but who continue to learn at educational institutions of the Odesa region online. As for the celebrations of the last day at school, I think that it is not the time for that. But we recommend to hold such celebrations only in those institutions that have bomb shelters and following all the requirements under the personal responsibility of the heads of educational institutions. Education documents have already been printed and handed over to educational institutions. Delivery date from the 15th of June. I'd like to emphasize that even during the summer vacation, the work of educational institutions aimed at psychological assistance and social emotional support of the participants of the educational process will continue. Registration for the main session of the National Multi-Subject Test Meeting 2023 ended on the 3rd of May. I'd like to remind you that 3 years ago we substituted with these testings the previous format of external testing. As for the national multi-subject testing, there are 16,534 people who are registered for the testing in Odesa region, and we have created the network of the special centers. We have 57 temporary examination centers in 25 settlements. For security reasons, the list has not been made public, but every participant of the testing process have received the time and date in their personal account where testing will take place. The testing will be online. There will be set blocks, 110 minutes provided for the whole testing. There will be several sessions, one from the 7th to the 20th June, and additional one from 11th July to the 24th of July. And the Ukrainian mathematics were the mandatory subjects, and there was the additional one. And the participants have chosen mathematics, Ukrainian history, English, and additionally biology, chemistry, etc. We have held the meeting with the State Emergency Service, the National Police, the State Security Service of Ukraine to develop an algorithm of activities in case of emergency at the testing point. But I believe that as it was the last year, everything will be all right, and the testing will be successful for all persons involved. And now about good news. In Odesa, it is planned to open 8 educational centers to provide opportunity to internally displaced children to receive additional knowledge. And this is also an opportunity for our teachers to have more classes to overcome educational gap and losses. Those schools who work online can also join the work of these educational centers. They will be open even during holidays, and we believe that until the 1st of September, we will have several such centers opened in the framework of different institutions of Odesa. I would also like to thank our international partners, our donors who support our schools, nurseries, and kindergartens. And this year, we have received computers for our teachers. And now I can say that 70% of teachers have computers. And there was additional aid for internally displaced children in the form of various gadgets. The gadgets have been further submitted to the local self-government bodies, and they are provided further on to internally displaced people. We have also received educational materials, school kits, and I would like to thank once more our international partners and donors who support our educational institutions. To organize transportation of students, the Department of Education planned to buy school buses. The state subvention for this year is 54 million hryvnias. We also expect co-funding by the local authorities, and we are planning to buy around 27 school buses. But I would like to remind that the buses can be bought using the local budgets. And we have already started preparation to the new school year, 2023-2024. The educational institutions should meet safety and security requirements. There is the concept of safe school, and we will plan by the 1st September 2023 to have the safety and security classes in all educational institutions. And we are also going to repair and reconstruct shelters. 101 million hryvnias of subventions envisaged for these activities, and also the local budgets. We plan to spend 547 million hryvnias for such activities. There is a separate UNICEF program for 5 educational institutions to the general amount of 25 million hryvnias. As for the textbooks for the new educational year, there was the problem with the textbooks for the first grade students this year, because the local budget has not envisaged the funds for printing textbooks, and also the manufacturing facilities were damaged. But the donors helped us, and this year students received textbooks like maths textbooks, and I would like to assure parents that their children will get textbooks for main subjects like Ukrainian history, math, etc. But we have also thought about summer activities for our students. From the 1st June, there will be daily camps in the framework of educational institutions. We are planning to have 257 such camps for 14 calendar days each shift. And I would like to thank the armed forces of Ukraine using this opportunity for their protection and for the possibility to teach our children. And this means that we at least are victorious at the educational front line. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have several questions to you. The first one: what percentage of school children who left Ukraine continue to study online following the curriculum of the Ukrainian school? I can provide precise numbers, not only percentage. After the full-scale invasion last year, 49,000 school children left Odesa. 40,000 are still there. 9,000 children returned to the Odesa region. 40,000 are still there, but they are involved in the educational process in our educational institutions. So these are official Ukrainian data. Almost all children who left Ukraine continue studying at Ukrainian schools. All children who left Odesa region and who are now abroad continue learning in our school officially. In Poland, there has been a recent survey, and 56% of Ukrainian students, school children, continue study in Ukrainian schools. So this is only half of them. That's why the question to your information. So they can be officially registered in Ukrainian schools, but they perhaps do not attend Ukrainian classes. Do you calculate these students? We have the information that all children who have left, they attend our classes. Thank you. There is one more question, or do we have a question from the floor? Okay, if you have a question, please do not hesitate to ask it. As for assessment of the quality of school education, taking into consideration that the full-scale invasion started a year and a half ago, how are you going to assess the quality of education after such online or mixed format of learning? So we need to protect the interests of our children. We understand that there has been COVID, that COVID was for 2 years, and now we have war. But there are educational gaps and losses, and we need to understand how our children continue to study under air alerts, under the sounds of shelling, and they also had to spend hours in their bomb shelters. And of course, our teachers try to support children, and their knowledge are tested, but the interests of children are of the paramount importance. And as for the multi-subject testing, is this the first time for the math to be a mandatory subject? No, it was the same last year. And can you prove that this is a successful implementation? I believe that this is needed because I'm a math teacher myself, and we understand that there is a decline when it comes to maths. That's why the introduction math as a mandatory subject for testing will have a favorable impact on the knowledge of children. Thank you. Thank you for your report. If there are no colleagues from the floor, we can stop here. Oleksandr, thank you for being with us here, and we will gladly invite you again. Okay, we can plan the briefing to provide more details about the next school year. We've had with us Oleksandr Lonchak, Director of the Department of Education and Science of Odesa Military State Administration. The next briefing will be at 2 p.m. and it will be dedicated to shelters of condominiums. You will learn about how to get grants for such shelters and about success stories. So please stay tuned and be with us at 2 p.m. See you.